I wrote pencil.
Heart shattered in pieces.
It was not a district laptop.
Look at this. Yeah, it's old. But you really shut the rest of them, you might help them. That's what we did. I know.
It's more.
Yes, it is.
Hi, Bobo. How are you?
Hi, what do you do?
You're pretty friend.
I thought you were out of town.
Heidi and I came home this morning.
But that was a fun drive.
It was a very peaceful drive. We left our kids with my wife, Adam, and Gus Foster, so they should be good things.
Oh, there you go.
Adam's looked early a few times.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Ready? At this time, we'll call the Jeff West 340 Board of Education meeting to order August 4th, 2025. Comments from patrons and guests? None. We have an amendment to the agenda.
I motion to amend the agenda to include an executive session before board issues additional personnel and additional payment to consent agenda. Second.
All in favor? 7. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Favor? 7.
I didn't raise my hand.
Building reports. What do we? Good. Welcome back, people.
Hey, guys.
They were instructed to smile and let you know.
Well, they did it.
Well,
Good job.
real quick, I mean, I think I don't know about everybody, but the building team, the custodial and maintenance team, we gotta have a building that's ready, and mine's looking really great. I'm sure the others are, a little bit that I've been in them. So just want to give a shout out to that team for their work this summer, and preschool team, just all the things that have been coming together in all the buildings, and it's what we need to be able to start those parties. So great job to all of them.
Floors look shined up here.
Yeah.
I would like to introduce officially Cole Bottom, our new athletic director.
Oh.
Welcome to the team.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
We'll save that.
Nice to meet you.
Keystone reports.
I do not have a ton to report, and I have no printouts for anybody today, so I'll just talk for a minute. We did vote last month to approve the assessment increase of 8% to our assessments, and so they had originally kind of toyed with 14%, which was a little scary for several districts, including us. I mean, that would have been a significant, but due to cash balances in some of their accounts, they were able to bring it down to 8%. That will hopefully include a $1 an hour increase for para pay, but that has not officially been approved yet, but it's looking very likely that it will be, which will bring our paras to $15 an hour starting this year. They did go over a lot of our paras that $15 an hour would be the starting dollar, but a lot of them, if they come in with experience, they're started out a little bit higher than $15 an hour. I don't know if that's something that's like common knowledge amongst people that are interested in the position, but if they come in with any kind of daycare or education experience at all, their starting dollar amount would be higher than $15 an hour. So just FYI, when you're out and about talking about it, maybe bring that up as well. I believe in our buildings, they do have somebody in each spot as of right now. I think we've got teachers. I don't know if we've got certified teachers in every spot. We do have long-term subs at least filling that role for at least to start off the year. Beyond that, the building is coming along. If you're driving through Oskaloosa ever and then going down Walnut Street, they have broke ground. There's footing. Yeah, every day. Sounds like Dave. There's every time I've driven by, there's people out there working, which is good to see.
Well, you don't get there every day then. Had a lot of rain.
Yes, yes, I do know that the rain held up things for a while.
I have to answer the question of what that is maybe 10 times a day.
Do you? Oh my God, I bet. Well, they also, when they were digging the footings, I'm not a building person, so forgive me if the lingo is incorrect, but when they're digging the footings, it flooded. And so they were worried that they hit a spring. And I guess that's bad in building terms.
Yes.
Apparently that's a bad
Not
thing.
good.
But I guess they did some sort of a French drain thing and it's fine. So
Sounds
everything's
exotic.
fine. I know. It sounds like it should be really pretty, but I don't think it is. I think everything's fine. They're doing, as far as the JDLA temporary housing this fall, everything's on track. They're making renovations. They're waiting on the fire marshal to come out and do like a final walkthrough and make fun suggestions about what needs to happen to make it, bring it up to fire code. But yeah, I think that's it.
Their raises, did they not do a dollar raise last year? Too?
Yeah, no, they did. Yes,
They-
more than $1, I think. last year.
Two last year.
Yeah. So if they do another dollar raise, it'll bring us up to $15 an hour starting. It has
You know how
not
many
been
they're
passed yet.
chasing?
Do what?
You know how many they're chasing to fill the obligation?
I don't know. I don't know. So, but I mean, that more than likely will.
That's not enough. but-
Yeah, I know.
Well, you think about
It
how
would
far some of us have to drive. No, it is not enough.
Nope. I
You
agree.
can't even buy a value meal for that.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, they're unlimited. I'm not saying anything bad.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how many they were chasing.
Yeah, no, I think they're in decent shape as of right now, and I think the increase last year helped make it less of a chase.
It
this
seems
year.
like they're in better shape this year
Mhm.
than they were.
Yeah, I feel
at
like
this
2 or
time
3
last
years
year.
ago, this was not a fun conversation.
No.
So,
They interviewed for two of ours
yes.
and have made offers.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait, you hear back.
Yes. Yep, they've got good leads for every spot.
Moving along. Can we get a motion for an executive session?
So moved. Oh, no, Aaron's got it. Language.
No, you already did. No, second.
Well, you gotta read it.
Well, you gotta read it. There you go.
I motion to enter executive session per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 15 minutes at 6:37 PM to discuss matters relating to security measures as allowed under the COMA exception, including admin, Dr. Newenswander, and Officer Boyer, with the open meeting to resume at 6:52 PM.
Second,
You're
All in favor?
so everybody but Bo who's safe to go to that.
Yeah.
Both
So
cool, you can
sorry.
hang out.
He's like, you guys.
Doors covers for all. You know how to stop that word. You know, how many doors do we have? No more of these doors stop. This one's.
Do it. They're run. I did the fun thing. Oh, I know, yeah. It's
Matters.
yeah, it took her 3 days to talk to me. Policies. This is where it's fun right here.
Oh, buddy.
Yes, you're- Back ready?
Yeah.
The next one is board issues, approval of 2025 KSB recommended policies.
So when you look at all the policies, policy DFH on fundraising, that is just when at some point we want to do that, we're not ready yet. That's still included in there, just so you can see what other school districts might be doing around, just getting their arms around fundraising, but we are not recommending to approve that one yet. The only policy of concern that we've had is the policy KM, which is visitors to the school. Specifically, a visitor that has a conceal and carry, it's visible, and they identify themselves as an off-duty police officer. The way the new law reads is, if that is the case, we cannot ask them to show any further identification. there's a lot of concern around the state on this. We've invited Jason Boyer to visit with us what another statute might share that we can ask for identification. But in the meantime, I know Matt Williams, myself, have visited with our representatives, our senator, shared our concerns about this. So it would be with the board's approval to let Jason share just a little bit about what we can ask for, possibly under another statute. If you don't mind coming up so the speaker can hear you. Should have told you that before you went back and sit there.
So every law enforcement officer in the state of Kansas is issued a commission card by either the sheriff or the chief of police or the governor. And so city of Meriden has their own, and I've given one to Matt that he's showing you guys now. And so for an officer to be able to carry a gun and do his law enforcement duties, he has to have one of those cards. And there is a beginning and expiration date on those cards. So like Jefferson County is every 4 years. And so Sheriff Herrig issues those out to us. We carry them until the next election. The city of Meriden is basically year to year, because that's how the chief of police is appointed. That's like every other city. So I think that what we could do, talking with some of the other chiefs in the county, is that if we have someone that shows up and says, because as I read it, they've got to tell you that they're an off-duty law enforcement officer that they're going to carry into your school. I don't think we're going to have a lot of people do that. But if they do, I think that someone needs to reach out to Dana and I, because we're probably going to be at one of those events. And we'll just have a conversation. I think we can take this out of your hands and not have someone that you're paying to take tickets at the game ask more questions than they probably won't feel comfortable doing. We'll just get a hold of somebody. If it's a uniformed officer we have there, great. We'll just have them have a conversation with them and just make sure that everybody's on the same page.
And I get that there's a lot of context to understand, but so I'm not an off-duty cop ever. But if you can't question me,
You
hypothetically,
the school can't.
if I walk in to a football game, toting a Glock, and I just say I'm an off-duty cop, you can't question me?
You guys can't question them. It doesn't say law enforcement can. It says the
Okay.
school doesn't have the right to do it.
Okay, that is.
I can. I can
Okay,
have a
what
conversation
about-
with them.
As just everyday civilian, can my husband go up and ask?
We can just say he's an off-duty cop. And if Jason's
Well,
there, he
I'm
walks right
saying,
in.
can he go
Yep.
up and ask
He
then?
doesn't have any authority to do it.
No,
But so you can just go up and strike up a conversation with him. And I'm not gonna run the person out, or I just wanted them to know that we know. And that in case there is a situation, I'm gonna be looking for that person because he's probably gonna be trying to help us out. And we wanna know who that is. I don't think we're gonna run into a lot of this, but I mean, if we do, it's awkward. And if an off-duty officer comes into this school or any other school, they're carrying concealed. If the weapon is seen by the public, then they're just doing a really crappy job.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't trust anybody rolling around with a revolver on their belt that's not a cop.
Right.
Because you wouldn't do that.
Right.
It's
Right.
so
hopefully you're right. I just feel like we're in a rural community and whoever the hell thought of this, pardon my language,
I'm hoping that.
has never been in a rural community ever.
Right.
Everybody's got a free opportunity to show off that. Look what I bought. Wider.
So if I were to see somebody carrying and I ask them to see this or to see the card and they are not law enforcement, do they have to show me their conceal and carry, or can I ask them just right away to tell them, please go put it in your vehicle and lock it up or take it home or something like that?
My understanding is you can't ask them that because you're part of the school.
Even
you
if
can
they're
have
not law
grandkids.
enforcement, because
How-
that
how are you
law,
gonna-
the way it was written, makes it sound like this is an issue for law enforcement,
Yeah.
not your average Joe, so it really doesn't, it's not
Yeah,
applicable.
but you're a representative of the district, so you'd be.
It says in there,
totally
the
fine
school can't ask them
No.
personal information like name, email address, phone number, address. You basically can't ask them anything about themselves,
if-
but we as law enforcement can,
Okay,
and we will.
I mean,
Someone just needs to let us know.
gotcha.
and to me, part of the biggest concern is that we may be able to verify it. Jason might be able to verify it. But as soon as they take 15 steps away and they walk into the gym and the crowd, if they don't have any kind of identification as a law enforcement officer, and they just someone off duty, and you can see their weapon, you now have 1,000 people in a gymnasium going,
Yeah, everybody's
that,
scared.
that's just it'd be nice if they would conceal it better. Or have some kind of identification that lets everybody else know that I do have authority, or school resource officers. When they're on school property, they wear some identification, because if they don't, not everybody knows.
And that identification, I think is also a deterrent for anybody that might wish harm. I think seeing a few officers there in uniform or identified is a deterrent. So that's my thing too. I don't mind them there, but it would be nice. Announce
This,
your
this
presence.
whole thing that came out is a little contradictory to what, so in Kansas, you can open carry, but you can't open carry at the state house. You can't open carry at a school.
Yeah.
Before we
This-
get too much further
Yeah.
in here, Ron was trying to call, I spoke with Ron Elvis several times, and he has been very willing to help. Today, the law, it was going to review. And then he was gonna ask for a formal request, of the interpretation of the law for the AG's office. Well, he just emailed me, texted me back the reviewed statute. And because I'm a horrible reader, I'm gonna let them,
You want me to read this whole thing?
read that, and then
Okay, I have reviewed the statute we discussed this morning more thoroughly since our discussion. The new language that we discussed is paragraph A2. If you look at the paragraph immediately above A2, existing law requires that off-duty officer must possess identification as required by their law enforcement agency and must present that identification when requested by a person of authority for the building. So to answer your question more thoroughly, if an off-duty officer enters a school building carrying a concealed handgun, the administrator for that building may stop the officer and request to see their identification. Once the administrator is satisfied the person is an off-duty law enforcement officer, then the officer is permitted to carry a concealed handgun into the building without having to show a badge or wear any other item that would indicate they are a law enforcement officer or carrying a firearm. The request of personal information is in reference to the personal contact information of the officer. The officer does not have to provide that information, but must present identification that they are a law enforcement officer.
And that goes back to my concern is that satisfies getting through the front door. But as soon as you walk
Yes.
into the gym,
And
I
everybody-
mean, if they walk in and I see it, I mean, if I didn't see it, I'd never know. But if I see it and I ask for certification and they provide it, that appeases me. But now they walk into the gym and there's 900 people in the gym that just see someone in street clothes with a pistol stick, or
Right.
whatever.
Right,
That's the part that is
So-
concerning to most school districts is you passed the first test, you showed, great, I saw your card. But if I ask them to hide it or whatever, and they decide not, you just walk into
right.
a situation where My recommendation on this one is we table it until we find out
What exactly?
where they go. We table KM.
Yeah.
Until we get some better guidance.
I would also like clarification on, because the way that I read it was, I don't remember who brought it up, but, retired military, active
Yeah.
military, like that's how I.
The one that I
also read it,
read,
is that they
maybe
were
it's been
allowed.
changed, but that's why I asked.
Yes, no, I read it that way as
I
well.
didn't see anything about military in there.
Okay. I would just like clarification.
Yeah.
Maybe we can ask him.
Well, so you can read the motion, or we can approve everything as presented.
Wow.
And it wasn't just
Left
off
that.
of the officers, it was retired officers as well. That's how I read it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's silly, yeah.
I think a big concern, and I know we're tabling this, but another concern of mine is okay, say they make it past phase one. Then that's gonna take our admins time away, who are supposed to be monitoring at basketball games. Who are supposed to like handle our crazy student section. As well as like they have 900 other things going on. So
Yeah.
you're taking their attention away from that to deal with something technically they already dealt with at the door.
Right.
But now they're having to field 800 more questions.
Right.
If we also don't like it, there's nothing saying we can't talk to our legal counsel and see what options are.
if legislation, that's. I mean, it's not done yet. Obviously, there's a few smart people that are pushing against it. But if they pass that down. COVID. I mean, there's some things out of your control.
Yeah.
Come January 1, I'll be happy to work the gate.
Did they give you any information when you're talking to them about the why
Don't
behind
touch
the
that
change and like
What
what
there's
they're
no one really
knows.
Someone comes in, I know, it's like, get out of here.
I'll tell you outside of here, but it had to do with another legislator somewhere else.
You ready?
Yep.
A motion to approve the KSB policy recommendations except DFH fundraising activities and KM visitors to the school as presented.
Second.
All in favor? 7-0. Oh, boy. Approve student and staff handbook.
where the area.
Yeah, listen,
Are we
Linda.
doing this again? Are we doing this
You're
again?
prepared.
No, I thought it was great. I
No,
thought it
I'm
was
joking.
legit great.
Majority of it, wow.
I know, we got all those edits
You're
last year.
welcome.
It was a joke.
Thank you. That's what you get when you
Necessary.
get marketing.
So has everybody looked at it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody okay?
Yes.
I have a concern.
I have one of the hats like I did last year.
Go ahead, Maddie.
Love to have you.
I
Let
just,
it go.
I think it's a distraction. I really do, but you know, maybe I'm different. But that's mine.
But how's the stress for high school?
Yeah.
I hate the hat rule. Maybe I'm more old school than my age should be, but was the hat rule a problem?
This past year.
Yeah.
It worked well.
At any time, was it a concern?
Yeah.
It's 2025, things are changing. We're letting people come in with guns like. But yeah, I agree with you.
I'll let it go then.
Teachers still have the authority to say not in my classroom?
Yes.
Ah, good enough.
So mine is different, but along those lines, every time I read all the different staff books or all the ones relating to staff, the dress code is always addressed the exact same way. And there's no specifics. And let me just acknowledge that a lot of people do great. They look professional, they look showed up. I do not have a kid in the middle school or elementary school anymore. Mine's high school. So that's all I see. And I've been to the other buildings. I'm like, oh, is that a new student? No, it's a teacher. Like I feel, and this is across the board, worldwide, we've seen issues in every office I've ever been in. I feel like it needs to be more defined. I think we need to set our expectations for our educators because they're leaders. These kids are looking up to them. They're setting the example. You guys did an amazing job and looked so professional this last year. I loved seeing it. Why aren't we expecting the same, setting the same expectations for our teaching staff and our educators in general? And again, not everybody's doing bad at this, but when I see a teacher who's not teaching gym or weights in sweats, that's concerning to me. And I feel like one big solution would be to take that dress code and expand on it. Just put some parameters on it and give some guidance. Because the reality is, if you don't set it out there, not everyone's going to know. I can't expect Derek to not show up in a hoodie if I don't say, hey, don't, you look nice. I know. But if I don't put it, you look lovely. But if I don't put it out there, yeah, exactly. No, you're allowed to wear it out. Yeah.
Well,
But-
during COVID,
Yeah.
there was specific dress code. During COVID, during all the virtual stuff, we threw them a bone
Yeah.
and we lightened up.
Is this not something that has to be negotiated, or is that?
It just-
That's a-
I don't think
I'm
that.
gonna put it like to you. I don't feel
I don't
the
think
way
closing
I
is
read it in the policy
But
is
once
just
you give
putting
stuff-
specific examples and guidelines. Cause it already says it, but it's just so broad.
And it says it for teachers or for
It
students?
says all of it. No, I'm students, you got under control. I'll let you, but it's
Yeah,
the.
no more
But
pajamas.
before we get too far into that,
Thank
we
you.
sat here at the last meeting and talked about tired of being okay, it's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we gonna start the new standard? I mean, I'm not going back to that, but you know, at some point in time, we gotta go, listen, man, we're better than that. Our students will walk into a building, take their hat off. Our students will look nice when they go places. At what point in time are we gonna take back control and say, listen, we're tired of just the lax atmosphere?
If you want to tell me how important you are in my child's life, please dress better.
Exactly.
And there are things that, I mean, I monitor my kid, you know, and Lord knows you get plenty walking through the door, you've got to look at and be like, go put a hoodie on or something like that. But I want to be better than okay. I
It's
want
not gonna land
to
well,
set an
but-
example.
Putting it back on is more than likely something that
It shouldn't
Someone
be an
not
issue though. Jeans don't bother me. Like things like that don't bother me. It's coming to school with a shirt that's not a t-shirt that's not holy or praying or like things like that. Like we just need to set expectations and ask that they be followed.
dress better than the students you're teaching.
There you go.
But once you give it, it's gonna be really hard. Because that is
I know
not
it.
that's gonna not land well. So y'all,
But I want to listen to I would love your opinion, admin, because the bottom line is how do you argue? But I want to come to work in sweats and a t-shirt. Well, I want to come to work in a tank top and shorts, but that's not an option. Like, talk to me.
Well, I've had staff come in sweats when the winter gets cold and dark days and, you know, just send an email out and included the dress code that's in the handbook and said, you know, comfortable is one thing, casual is one thing, but the sweats need to stop. And, you know, we have the privilege of wearing jeans. Let's make sure they're not ripped. Let's make sure they're, you know, I kind of review it. Usually takes one time a year, somewhere in February, it just starts to get a little slit. And I gotta remind people, you know, let's dress appropriately.
But you nailed it.
Sorry.
Because you nailed it because you just said, no, let's not wear sweats. Let's not wear, those are things that are not in that policy right now. That policy is so broadly written that there is no like clear definitions of no sweats. I would have had no idea. Because they're gonna read it differently, different generations.
One
as well.
day there was, when we were trying to get kids not to wear flip flops. And I tried to bring up flip flops with staff.
oh, you got it.
30 minutes later, I learned a lot about open-toed shoes. I mean, I was not laughing. It's both funny and serious because when we started to draw a line, then, no shorts. Well, can the ladies wear skirts? And then there's that sexist. And then why can't the men show their knees? I mean, oh my God, so it is a bit vague, but I watch what they're wearing and hey, let's not wear the rock t-shirt tomorrow. We have our theme days and that gets a little goofy and we have.
And I get that. That's good.
Yeah,
As
but I really watch mostly the pants. I mean, they do wear dresses that are good length. Reminded a couple every now and then about, knock short. In August sometime, if we get into the end of August and we're having those 100-degree heat days, I might say, hey, you get shorts for a week, keep them professional. It's not Daisy Dukes and all this. But I will say, will get after each other and say, we like jeans, don't screw this up. Like, keep it, you don't need rips and they don't need to be that tight, but I don't need whatever. And shirts haven't really been too big of an issue. Sometimes it's t-shirts, but they wear the team shirts, they wear Jeff West stuff. A lot of them wear, very decent blouses and sweaters and things like that. So that's my perspective on it from what I've dealt with when like I said, those dark January, February days and a couple of snow days, and we slide in on a Friday finally, and then we got to pull it back together and say no sweats. That's been a conversation.
That's a tough question to ask them now, because we aren't doing anything at the moment, and we're throwing them to the wolves to speak on something, not knowing whether we're.
Well, but it is vague to your point.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well,
and I use the open toe
Yeah.
shoe thing because what's an appropriate top. And as a male, and with all the ladies,
Yeah, you're in a tricky position.
cautious of that.
But that's what also makes the way it's written or how broad it is
Yeah.
iffy. And it's also not protecting you if you were to go to someone and say, hey, it's probably not a work appropriate shirt. I mean, that's not protecting you. The policies are here to protect you too. We don't have to get minute, and we don't have to break out a dollar bill back in the day. But I feel like we do need some specifics of at least don'ts.
And we used to have those.
Yeah.
And we were all over the place from building to building. And one of the goals was to make it a statement that covered a lot, which appears vague, but treated them as professionals to make a professional decision. And so doesn't mean that you don't have to have some of those one-on-one conversations, but usually those will nip it in the bud. It's like several years ago had a teacher that the jeans and the t-shirt were not professional looking. So we had that conversation and they you're right, I know this, I'll do better, but they just, I don't know, you get caught up in, I'll just grab this and go and get comfortable. And so you have to remind.
And we all do it. We're all guilty of it. If you feel confident that it'll be continued to be addressed and without expanding on it, and it won't be an issue next year at this time, then we can leave it as is. But I know we said the same thing last year, and we saw many cases of it's requested by the board.
Well, there's no way we're gonna be able to iron out a dress code tonight.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% in agreement. I don't think they need to wear a suit and tie or anything, but it's a different world. But if I went to a client dressed with what I'm wearing right now, I would run the risk of losing that client because I have not shown them enough respect for their time to put a collar on and tuck my shirt in.
I think it should be written by either.
Every industry is different, but the
right.
point
You're dead on. I think you're dead.
if you want to be treated like a professional, shouldn't you look it? And that doesn't mean you have to wear a suit and tie or a ball gown or whatever.
No.
Well, that's
But you should dress better than every student in
But
the
I think
building.
John's right. We need to probably let the building leadership teams maybe
I like
Agreed.
that.
We can't make it tonight, but
iron it out.
I am 100% in support of.
No, I mean,
I think
if
that's a
they're
great
dress
idea.
code,
Something.
let them make it and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I bet most of the teachers would.
Most would have no
I
issue
would
at
bet that a large percentage of them would agree with everything we're saying.
Well, I think it's an example of a larger culture. I don't want to say issue. But we talked about, are we okay with being okay? You ask every teacher, they would say no. Okay, what are ways then to change the culture? That's just one piece of it. John's right, we engage them in the solution.
Exactly.
Um,
I think that's great.
Probably come up with a great.
It's like, you know,
Yeah.
most of the time, KASB gives us policy recommendations that we're okay with. Every now and then, it's like, okay, now they're telling us what the legislature, so that is definitely something that we will be working on going through this year, is addressing. In one conversation, we will start Friday morning with staff at the opening convocation is, how do we go from being okay to being excellence in every measure of success? And it takes time, but it's got to be intentional.
I think that's a great solution.
I bet the teachers will come up with a good one that everyone will.
I
But
love
the
that.
majority of them want
I got one last one, and this is for the elementary school. On the field trips, the grandparents, do we make, where it says no grandparents or other family, do we make exceptions?
Make it for so many, I think they do, like
I-
the adult.
We'll look at it case by case,
Okay.
but in the situation where one of them is, they went to the Royals game, they couldn't make it to the seats. So,
Okay.
now what do we do? Because that's our seat. We can't just sit wherever we want. Grandparents can't always keep up on heights.
Okay.
And so, while it sounds wonderful, it sometimes backfires, and then we end up caring for an adult when we need
Yeah.
to be tuned into the kids.
That stuck out. I thought, I don't know about that one.
I know, I understand. It's difficult, but I would say it's more of a case by case. What's the situation? What's the scenario? What's going on? Someone come talk to me. But we felt like putting that in there because then it reduces most of the requests. I mean, in some cases, we do have mom and dad, and I was happy to see a lot of dads on field trips this last year, and good for them.
I didn't get that far, out. I haven't figured that one
Yeah.
out. It was like all dads and me one year. I was like, oh, this isn't what's happening.
All right, I guess if we're good, get a motion on that handbook.
I motion to approve the student and staff handbooks as presented.
Second.
One favor. 7-0.
All right.
Review the district
That
budget.
was the last time.
Coming around. Handouts.
Kind of that.
So these are coming around. I enjoy the first comments out of the gate. But this is one of your more important meetings, because this is establishes, first of all, our budget for the year. There should have been one extra.
I didn't know, I was gonna hand it, but I didn't know.
You're the only one from the public, so.
Well, it's not something we do all the time, so I was like, I didn't wanna do it.
I get it, yeah. So the process is, we'll go through it tonight. And then I will publish, I'll show you here in a minute if we can get it to work, which we ought to. I will pull up, that way people on Zoom can see just some of the key things. But between tonight and September board meeting, I will publish in the Vindicator our notice of hearing, all of that information. That way, because by law, it has to be out there. We will have a hearing for revenue neutral rate. I'll show you that here in a minute. Then we'll have a hearing, and you have to take a roll call vote on that. Then we'll have a hearing on the budget in September, and then we'll go into a regular meeting, and then you can approve the budget. So I want to walk through, because if you want any changes to the budget, then you direct me tonight. So just some talking points before I go into it of what is in play as we're building the budget. So the first page, this upcoming budget is based on 860 students. That is up 33 students from last year. Remember, last year we were down 9, but we turned away some because they happened to apply out of districts. We have 5 classes that we posted in June with 0 openings. This year, if you look on there, we had 23 new non-resident students that applied that were in classes that did not have a 0. It just, every year is going to be a little different. We had an exorbitant amount. Now I say exorbitant, I just finished my first year here. So I got 2 years to compare. But we had a lot of non-resident applications. I don't think the law caused that. Most people have no idea that the law says if they apply and you have room, you have to take them unless they are a student not in good standing in the district that they're coming from. And the principals background check every one of them. We had 23 that were in good standing, so the law says you have to take them. This was as of Friday when I was working on this. We had another non-resident in a class where we have space. We have to take them. So that'll most likely be at 24. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be here on September 20th. They just applied. Most of those 23 have already pre-enrolled. So the 860 is based off of numbers that 23 that we accepted. It'll now be at 24. We also, since May, have had 18 students that have moved into district. Those are new to the district. And if they live in district, you take it. I mean, you have to take them. That does not include our pre-K or kindergarten. And the reason I don't include that is because preschool is a new program. And kindergarten, every one of them is new, in district or out of district. So in order for the board to compare this year to last year, we can only look at classes where they were already here. So we drop off the seniors, they're gone, we move kindergarten to first grade. So we're only looking at first grade through seniors. There's 23 new first grade through senior non-resident. There's 18 new first grade through senior that's moved into the district. But as of today, we know that there are 9 that were here last year that the parents are moving, whatever. And some district has requested transcript transfers. So when you mix all of that, the budget is based off of 860 kids.
And the goal date is actually September 22nd,
September 20th.
which is a Saturday.
Well, the 20th is Saturday.
So we go to the following
So
Monday.
they go to the following Monday.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Everything's
Unless you're the county, it rolls to the 19th.
Yeah,
But the
we don't
law
have-
says the 20th or the first
Let's do this one.
Monday after. So the 22nd is official count date. Now, you'll see when I did the budget, I built the budget on 870s. And the reason is I added 10 and I took that money and stuck it in one line, because what if 862 show up? We have we would get the money, but we don't have the authority. Because we can only spend what we publish in the budget, the authority, and we can't spend $1 more. So I'll cushion it by 10 students and put that money to the side. That way, if 862 show up, we have the authority to spend the additional revenue it generates. You can't spend more than you publish, but if it comes in at 855, then we back it down. You just can't spend more than what you publish. And if we have 880, then next spring we'll be republishing our budget. It just saves us doing that.
Who would monitor that?
So after September 22nd, the state comes and audits us. And then we get what's called a legal max. And then the state says, here's all you can spend. And we're only going to send you enough money to spend up to that amount. So even if we wanted to spend, they're not going to send us $1 more than what our audited September 22nd head count is.
So the state,
The
these numbers are audited, so there's
Yes.
actually no possible way
No.
for a district like USC 340 to spend more than a posted
Right.
budget.
And then the following year, they come and audit, and let's say I ended up spending more last year than what I had the authority. They just reduced this year's state aid by that amount. So we get looked at twice. And then we have a CPA audit. Every district has to have a outside CPA audit. They go into our financials. So anyway, I'm building the budget. I will plug in 870, but I built the budget off 860. If that makes sense. For the preschool, we're basing that, I say today, off of 47. Now, I've added a little bit because between now and September 22nd, what if we end up at 55? Well, we've got authority to spend more, but I built the budget as 47 because that's what we had Friday. And then we had another one enroll this morning. So we're actually at 48. So I will keep adjusting, but we know, but that's why I'll put cushion in it. Because if they show up, we don't want to turn down, we want to serve every kid and the state will fund, but if they don't, we'll only spend. So even though I'll publish a budget, it's high. So we have the authority if the kids show up. If they don't, the state tells us, here's how much we're sending you.
What's our max capacity for money at the preschool?
You know, we've got room over there. We can serve 100 kids. Right now.
With staff, right?
Well, we'll have to add staff. Right now, and we just offered and accepted our third para for the preschool. So we're starting out with 3 teachers and 3 paras. We'll have the preschool Keystone. They've always been a part of us. They'll be there. So, and I'll walk through kind of some numbers for preschool. But the budget right now of the 47, 17 of those have an IEP. Those were the kids that were normally our Keystone preschool that last year was up here at the high school. We had 18 last year, 3 and 4-year-olds. But of the 17, 11 of them would have qualified, even if they didn't have an IEP, they would have qualified for one of the preschool risk factors. There's 9 additional students that don't have an IEP that qualify for one of the 9 or one of the risk factors. And then we have 21 that just need preschool. So they'll be paying the tuition. So that's how you get to the 47. Couple other things before we get into the budget. our state aid and our local option budget, we lost 4% state aid. And the short reason is our enrollment last year went down and our valuation went up. What does that mean? Well, if you look at 2023, our assessed valuation was 67 million, and we had 835 students 2 years ago. So when you divide that, that means on paper, each student is worth $81,000 when you look at the wealth of your district. And the way they look at wealth, divide the number of students into your valuation. This past year, our valuation went up to 72 million and we had 827 students. So on paper, it looks like one student will generate more property tax valuation. And then they rank every school district low to high. Well, last year it looked like our kids got wealthier on a valuation. So we lost 4% state aid. If our numbers go up on September 20th and we have 860 in our valuation, then hopefully we pick some of that up next year, the state aid. It doesn't affect how much money we get to spend. It just means the state's going to kick in a little bit less. That means it's property tax that has to make up the difference. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So, another thing that after our audit last spring, our career tech ed classes, we lost $40,000 in career tech ed state aid. We're going to have to look at that. And that is basically kids enrolled in classes that are in our CTE pathways that generate career tech ed funding. For some reason, did we have fewer students? Did we move? We've just got to figure that out. But that's $40,000 that our last year's budget dropped because of that. One thing Amy and I are looking at, anytime a new staff member leaves and a new one comes in, whatever they choose for health insurance, we've had, someone leaves and they were on their spouse's health plan. So they weren't on our health insurance. We replace them with someone that signs up for family. That's $21,000. Sometimes we just think about what their salary was, and we forget that our health insurance plan is a huge kind of down in the engine room, and all of a sudden it's, how did we spend so much more? Well, we know the salary schedule, but sometimes it's that, and that's one thing we're really looking into is you got to think, and you can't. So our new staff that I'm going to share with you later, all of our new staff, we know where they are in salary schedule. We won't know until August 8th when they sign up for health benefits. So sometimes it's kind of oh, we were good this year. Or, ooh, so that's one thing we're trying to run some calculations on. Another thing, going through this past year, and every district's unique, our supplemental salary schedule, that's all the coaching, sponsoring, everything, it's actually tied to our base state aid. Excuse me, our beginning teacher salary. Not every district does that. Some do. But when we increase the base, that automatically increases every supplemental. So that's something that, okay, good, so just getting our arms around some of that. And then one other thing, these are just things we're still trying to look at. Last year, we had 2 full-time positions that we had to fill for at least a year or half a year with substitutes. So it may not look like we spent as much because the substitutes were less of a cost, but when you look at this year's budget, we had to budget for a full, so those are just some things going into it. Okay, before I get into feel free to mingle,
Good chat about the budget. So fun.
There we go. You're on. Good. So I'm not gonna go through every one of these tabs across the bottom, but I would be happy to do it when you have some free time and want to come by the office. So I'm gonna try and increase this. Aaron, can you see it okay on Zoom?
Not better.
Okay. Just so this is historical of our district valuation. There's a lot of different, whether it's general fund, capital outlay, bond, because general fund, every taxpayer has an exemption from your 20 mil for your home. But last year, basically, we're at 72 million. From the counties this year, we're at 77. So our assessed valuation, it went up $5 million. So 1 mil just generates that much more. So I wanted to share that with you. The general fund is always a smaller amount. You won't, your 20 mils, there's an amount that is exempt from the school district's 20 mils. But for capital outlay, local option budget, bond issues, it's at 77. It's at the higher number. To jump down here, this is where I plugged in 870 students. I built the budget on 860, and then I went back in and added 10 more kids and just kind of stuck that amount out there. Just in case we end up with more, we have the authority to spend it. If not, it wasn't budgeted for anything. So the 7 is preschool. So preschool students are only funded at half of what a kindergartner was, so 0.5. So 7 FTE means I'm budgeting in case we have 14 that would qualify. Right now we have 9. So if I was doing exactly, that'd be a 4.5. But I gave us some cushion for that as well, because we're getting a lot of interest in the preschool and it could go up. Free lunch, and I'll show you, and I gave you a printed copy to make it easier. So you can go home and put it on your fridge. But last year we had 220 of our students qualify for free lunch. That money, and I'll show you how the calculation works, but that generates over $500,000 for us to spend on at-risk for students, not that are free, but students that are behind academically, students that have behavior. So it's the free lunch kids that generate the revenue, because it's about because the number one cause of struggles is poverty. So that's the only way that they could look at that makes sense is free lunch. We, on a percent of state average, we are not a poor district. We have poverty. We have bilingual, 3. We have, risk factors. But for a district our size, we're less than the state average in just about every risk factor. We have it, but there are other areas closer than us that have our size that have a lot higher number of free lunch. Last year was at 220. I added 14 to it because our preschool kids that qualify for free lunch also generate at-risk dollars that will then be used in the budget. We're going to pay for 2 of our paras over at the preschool because of the money that the at-risk. You will have.
So if you qualify, you should fill it out so the school district isn't spending $15,000 at the end of the year for non-paid lunches.
Yeah, so
Or if you can afford.
so
to
2
pay it.
things. If you qualify for it, fill it out because it helps your child receive healthy meals.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows who those students are.
So important, exactly.
The second thing is
I know.
the second thing is my mouse keeps sliding down. The second thing is every one of those generates another $2,700 that we can use to provide additional supports, whether your student needs it or not. So I'm on that school finance task force, and a representative from Central Kansas said, well, I've always struggled with the idea that just because you're on free lunch, you can't learn. It's like, no. So I pulled up our local consolidated plan and I shared with them, we have 220 kids that qualify for free lunch, but we serve over 300 that struggle. That just generates the money for, and those kids that struggle, many of them are from affluent families. So one generates the money, the other is you spend it on the kids that struggle academically, behaviorally, and we spend it on a lot more than what generates it. So you have a copy of this. It's the second page. It's the Form 150. This is just what makes our budget. We start with the 870. We add the preschool FTE. We get what's called low enrollment weighting. That the smaller you are, it's economy of scale. I'm not going to get into the calculation, but just if we had 10 kids move in, we don't have to necessarily hire a new teacher. But if we had 10 kids move out, that doesn't mean we have to get rid of a teacher. So it's economy of scale. The smaller you are, the more weighting. So everything is converted to a number of kids, an FTE. So on paper, we have an extra 252 kids. We don't have them, but everything's converted to an full-time equivalent kid. We have our bilingual weighting. It's a very small amount of 0.3. Our career tech ed, a few years ago, that was around 17, 18 FTE. It's at 12.5. It may be too small for you to read the handout. Our free lunch, those 234 kids are the equivalent of another 113 kids in our building. All of this adds up, and you ended up multiplying it by the base state aid of $5,615. That's what every kid's worth, but also all of the weightings. Transportation, all the kids that we make available over 2.5 miles will generate $433,000 for our transportation. So we get that weighting. 1,290,000, that's the special ed money they launder through us. They send it to, I know that's bad habit of using the word launder, but that's what.
But it is what it is.
That used to go straight to Keystone. Now they send it through us, we get it, we transfer it to special ed and then send it on. But that's part of our budget. Virtual state aid, we have some students in our district that choose to go virtual. And if they want to enroll through us, we use Greenbush. We get to count them. It's a different formula, but they're part of our budget. And about 28,000 of that we will send to Greenbush to provide all the online learning. But that 8,815,000, that's our general fund budget. And this is the general fund. 8,815,000. Then we have all, I got my notes out here. Okay, you add 870 students, but that's our general. Our supplemental is about 33% of our general. So our general fund or supplemental is 2,929,000. You add those two together, that's what operates our district. What the last thing I wanted to show you, this is what will go to the paper. Everybody that owns a home in Kansas pays 20 mils towards their school district. And that money doesn't come to us. It used to, but then the state said, no, we want it. So it goes straight to the state treasurer. The supplemental general, our budget proposed is 13.6 mils. Then our capital outlay is 8. The revenue, so this will be in the paper. The revenue neutral rate is this form. Last year, taxes levied, they give you these amount of taxes that were levied. What the state does is they look at it and say, well, if your taxes, your valuation had not gone up, here's all you can levy this year. If you go any higher than that, then you're not revenue neutral. So our mill levy that we're going to propose is 41.6. It's about 0.9 mils higher than last year. This will go up and down like this every year because state aid. So we talked about we lost 4% state aid in the LOB, and it bumped it up just a little. But the only reason a school district would not be revenue neutral is if they paid a bond off, so they're levying less in money, or they're declining enrollment so fast that this year's budget is less than that last year's budget. Other than that, then they're going to exceed revenue neutral because property values go up and we get more per pupil. So even if you were flat enrollment, you're going to exceed it because I don't know anywhere in the state where property values didn't go up. So any questions on that? No one ever asked that, but I want you to be able to answer in case they do. A few last things, so I'm going to stop share. is between now and September 20th. Just to kind of share some additional with you, the second page. So now I got to catch up with you because I know you've gone through all the pages already while I was talking. We removed the names, but these are the 47 preschool students that have applied for preschool. Now there's going to be 48, but I don't have the latest one, but as soon as I printed it off, there'd have been a 49. So as of Friday, if they qualify either as an IEP or qualify for preschool, they get 0.5 of that base state aid, 5,615. So each one of those generates $2,808. If they qualify for free lunch as one of their qualifiers, they generate an additional 2,718. And then the remaining will just pay the tuition. So if you look across the bottom, we just keep a tally every time someone enrolls, we look at what they generate. So right now, revenue, they're generating 257,000. The money generated from that will go right to the preschool to fund and support that program, which is why, again, it'll take a few years. Since we didn't have preschool last year, I don't want to add revenue and say, well, look at our general fund budget. Well, what we're paying to Keystone went up 58,000. 257,000 is generated for preschool. So I want to keep preschool separate until we get to a time where we can compare apples to apples each year. But this year we're not comparing apples to apples. So just wanted to share with you how we're tracking the preschool numbers. And again, this will change until September 22nd. As soon as that happens, then we know what we're going to have. Now, if a kid comes in October 20th and would have qualified, we're going to educate them. We may not have generated money, but if they're a Jeff West kid, 3 and 4 year old, we're going to educate them. Just like someone moves into our district in November, we educate them. It's just September 20 determines how much money we get to educate for the year. I've walked through this with you. So I wanted to share the far right numbers. We looked at health insurance special, all of those things on the left. This is budget outlook. We've gone through all of the upcoming costs. If we were to stay at 826.9, which was our audited number last year, even if we'd have been at 815, we're guaranteed 826.9 students. Those are the numbers that we would be negative 8,000 going into this year with all of the extra costs. If you go to the far right, when you add those 33 and get to 860, now we're talking a little bit different number. We're looking at 165,000. And we're fortunate with growth comes additional resources. That also comes additional expenses at some time. The next page, this is the one that makes you go, And this is why I shared with you some of the talking points of what we're looking at going into it. The middle column, let's just look at the highlighted. Those are funds like at risk, virtual, driver training, food service, professional development, special ed, and career and tech ed. There's others in there, capital outlay, we can't use that on instruction. We can't use it to pay teacher salaries. So of the highlighted, if you look at the total at the bottom of the middle column, we carried into the past year, 850,000 of unencumbered cash. And I can visit why we have to have unencumbered cash. July 1 of this year, we're at 522,000. So we overspent $327,000. Clear down at the bottom, that leaves us at a 7%, which is okay. But if we do it again, and then do it again, so those are the things we're looking at as, you know, yes, we know we'll talk about health insurance at the end, the health insurance committee. We know that's kind of unpredictable because we don't get to decide what people will sign up for. We know 40,000 career tech. We know there's just a lot of things that go into that. The nice thing is our enrollment's going to generate some more. Do we have to solve it in 1 year? No, but we've got to start working our way back to where we're not spending more than we're bringing in each year, if that makes sense. And then the last page, if you like graphs, you can look at the top. If you like pie charts, you can look at the bottom. If you're looking at the top, ignore 23, 24, because that's when we had Rocket Online Schools and we were sending a lot of money, so it skews percentages. But this is a way to look at what percent of our budget goes to instruction, what percent goes to student support, like nurses, counselors. What about instructional support, library, teacher aides, administrative, operations and maintenance? But that just gives you just a visual of our general and our supplemental added together. That funds our budget for general operation. So thank you for being patient, but the whole budget is based on, you know, our board goals and objectives, our district leadership team, where we, you know, our professional development, what, you know, how we do academically, social, emotional, all of that. Any questions? It wouldn't surprise me if you were like, let's move on. But it's important for you to know that.
Yeah, no, it is important. I appreciate the time you put into it, honestly.
Yeah.
That's why I keep this paper and I should read it.
Please do not ask for
Read
anything.
mine.
Well, that was just a discussion item, so
Yeah.
no action.
This budget will come back to you unless between now and within a week when we have to publish things in the paper. If we had 15 more preschool kids show up, I'll budget for, I've got cushion in there. But if not, this is the one that code 99 revenue neutral will be in the paper in a couple of weeks. And then we'll have a hearing on it at the September board meeting.
In the preschools, the September 20 deadline applies to preschool kids as well.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
That meeting, will that be held before the school board meeting?
So at the September meeting at 6 o'clock, we will hold the revenue neutral rate hearing. And then you have to vote to exceed it, and it's a roll call vote, just like last year. And then at 8:15, we'll have a hearing on the budget. So if patrons, they see it in the paper, they have questions, they can come in. It'll be the same budget I just presented. Then at the regular board meeting, you'll vote to approve the budget. But we have to have 2 hearings before the regular meeting in September.
Any questions? All right, next one, consider.
Do you need action on that?
What's that?
You don't need action on
No,
it.
not this one. This is just presenting it, so
Consider preschool fees discounted for 340 staff.
So-
And you can look at that
Yeah.
third page,
Yeah.
has that on.
So part of when I shared this going through the budget, and we had 50,000 that we were setting aside for preschools. We're getting to the point where with enrollment, we're getting close to that, where that'll be enough. And hopefully we'll only need to supplement it by 40,000 or 35. So I think we're at the point where I think I feel good budget wise. I mean, I wish I could recommend just free for them all. But free would be $21,000. Oh, now we gotta. But reduce, I mean, if we do half, then that would be an additional 14,000 we wouldn't generate. I feel better because our numbers are getting to where I feel better about supporting that, and hopefully.
And just to be clear, when we say staff, we mean their children, not grandchildren, nieces, nephews,
Yes, their children,
neighbors, brothers.
That's a good point.
their
That's a
siblings,
good point.
their sibling. And right now, of that list, and again, I hid the names because, well, the only reason is it identifies on there who qualifies for free,
Yeah.
and we can't share that.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we hid the names.
Mhm.
But we have 4 staff members that will have a preschooler, a sibling, son or daughter, attending. So at half, that would be 14,000. And I feel better. I couldn't have given you that in June. July, we were getting closer. We're at 47, we're now at 48. I'm starting to feel good. We could at least move into,
I love half off. I think that's more than what I was expecting, and I'm thrilled with that, and I think they will be too.
That's not gonna lead to staff members wanting half off of their student fees and all that, right? We're just making sure.
that's a great
I'm
question.
gonna trickle down effect and then we're in the hole.
Because in the board goal on staff recruitment retention, one of the strategies was reduce fees. Well, I mean, we're moving someone from 7,000 to 3,500. With enrollment fees, 75 to 30, it's, we're talking the difference between $3,500 we help someone than $35.
Yes.
Now, you have multiple kids, I know, but we capped it to. Hopefully we can get there, but to do it, when you look at the other numbers, we still gotta get our arms around 327,000. I would love to get to the point where you work here, you don't pay anything for anything. We just can't do it all at once.
Right, okay. I totally agree.
Yes.
Yes.
I motion to approve the reduction for the preschool enrollment fee in half for all staff members that have students enrolled in the Jeff West preschool.
Second.
Sorry, I didn't know she was done. Yeah, second.
Oh,
I
sorry.
thought you seconded it, sorry.
That's okay too. I why
Like
can't
that?
you second?
So, oh, I'm very free.
I thought she was still going, I'm sorry.
Discussion item, discussing on district growth.
Or four.
Peanuts.
Oh,
How about
good.
this?
So the first page are just kind of some condensed things for us to continue the conversation. All the rest of the pages are what I handed you last month. And I made more copies because I assumed you didn't bring.
I
all
bring
your-
everything.
Good assumption.
That's a great assumption.
Right.
Okay, so the other pages are just repeat. This was just more of, okay, are we gonna be up 33 kids every year? Probably not.
Right.
It's gonna go like this, but is it going to go in an upward, a downward, or whatever? It's just we need to be proactive in thinking about the location of our district to a suburban area. And, you know, we shared last time, the majority of our growth, non-resident, comes from our neighbors to the west and south and southwest. We get a few from others, but, so question one, do we anticipate that the Jeff West School District will grow in student numbers over the next 5 to 10 years? Number one, and number two, can we even control it? Well, you've got to educate them if they move in. If they're out of district and you have space, you got to take them. So it's hard to control unless we get to the point where all of our classrooms are just zeros and we can't take out of district. That solves that. But how many is that? How long does that, you know? Number two, do we have enough space to accommodate growth? What types of physical space will growth affect? Classrooms, activities, transportation, more buses, you know, people moving in, we filling up buses, all of that. And then what other questions? So just to let you think about it, because space is the biggest need. And space isn't just classroom, but it's a big part. So.
Are you wanting us to answer these right now?
Yeah.
We're discussing?
No, these are
Or we're
just
just pondering?
things to think about
Okay, all right.
without saying, well, we never had the opportunity and all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We've got 27 kids in every classroom in elementary and we have nowhere to even add a teacher.
Yep.
Those are just, you know, how long, we may never get there. But at least we can have a conversation about what do we think.
And this is gonna be ongoing conversation,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it has to be.
because, you know, coming down the line here, you'll see 7.4, we're gonna talk about that. The timeline. So it's something we gotta really think about here.
Yeah.
And how we're gonna handle it.
Yep. To be a very well thought out conversation discussion.
When do we need to sit down and just have the real deal?
You know, it's really, you know, my job is to try and help you achieve your goals. And you got 4 of them. This affects student success with class size. It affects facilities with space. It affects
Recruitment.
I mean, this, I just, you know, I just want to, on the back end, try to provide the board enough information to think. So many times it's like, what do we need to do for this year? And sometimes we don't have a conversation about okay, but 5 years is gonna be here really fast. And are we ready for it? And one has to do with growth. I just think because of our location with a lake, 2 golf courses, the people that want that rural experience, but work in Lawrence or Topeka, or, I just, it doesn't take, I mean, all of a sudden, we did not expect 18 new kids move in. We know sometimes kids will move out. But I'm not a realtor. I know, but I think at some point, in the next month or two, we start having, in July, the facilities planning committee presented, hey, if you don't add a classroom, you don't do it, whatever, in the next 5 to 10 years, you got to address the things on this list. And those were our local Mason, electrical, HVAC, our community people that get facilities. Well, here's another thing that directly affects facilities. So anyway, we had a conversation last month. I shared with you some information. Just wanted to make sure I put it back for you to say, okay, well, here's what I thought about the last, because I know that's been on your mind, all of your minds.
Do we have any questions that Brad can look into for us for the next conversation? No.
Actually, I am curious, you, on the page, the non-resident students as percent of enrollment, that's sort of the last page. You have listed the resident and non-resident. Could you let us know how many were added this year? Like this school year, once we pass the September dates and stuff, I'm just curious how much.
23. Now it's 24. But they're spread out across all of them. And I actually, Aaron, so we have an Excel spread now, and of the 23, again, that excludes kindergarten. Wes, you remember, I don't want to wake you up.
No.
So I'm giving you a lead.
Yes.
Of the current kindergarten class, aren't like 13 of them non-resident?
Pretty close to that.
Those 13 are not in the 23 because non-resident or resident, again, if we have space, because we have 4 sections of kindergarten, and a parent non-resident applies, we'd have to get to 80 before we could turn them,
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if we see any sort of trend on grade levels, like, is it, kindergarten
Well,
or?
K1, 2 are 60 plus. 3rd grade, this is old numbers from May. I mean, we're still counting heads and getting enrollment. 3rd grade was upper 50s. 4th grade is my smallest at like 53 or 54. So the trend is we're running 60s, or starting to, instead of 50s. Instead of 55, we're 65.
So I think if you look at the top part of that page, you can see, now these were, the top part of the page was last year. When we were working on this. So last year, 11% of our kindergartners were non-resident, and then 19. So it's really across the board on. Now, when we're done with enrollment and we add 23 or 24, then these numbers will change a little bit. But 22% of our 5th graders are out of district, but of our 4th graders, it's only 12. So it's really
So all this is last year's.
Yeah, this was last year's actual numbers.
Gotcha.
We're still working on enrollment this year and they got, you know. So we'll update once after September 22nd.
Any more? I guess we'll move on to student issues. None. Facilities, equipment planning, Ozaki gym door replacement bid from Big Foundry.
So. As Kelly was talking about, Keystone is going through fire code stuff for the Methodist Church. Since we repurposed the Ozaki, we have to go through fire code, everything. Fire inspection went really well. Other than the doors between the gym. So the interior doors, not the exterior, there's 3 sets that have to be replaced. I know they were good for 59 years, but once you hit year 60, but it's been years since that building was repurposed from a K-12 to now preschool. So fire marshal code updated because it wasn't that way that many years ago. And the reason is that's a firewall between the gym and the instructional. And without fire rated doors, it slows down the fire from getting classrooms to the gym or the gym to the classrooms.
So it has to happen.
It has to happen and they were.
I make a motion to approve the door replacement bid on Ozaki gym.
Second.
All in favor?
Well, I mean,
7-0.
you just said it's
Yeah.
gotta happen.
It was over 20,000. It was the only, we sent out bids, but it was the only one that was received. So.
Yes, sir. Mate. When we looked at this years ago, when we were figuring out what to do with that building, we knew that there were fire doors and stuff that was gonna have to happen.
And that's normal for them to be that expensive.
Yeah.
I thought that was cheap.
This is,
You
That
gotta think,
includes the installation.
it's
I was reading this off.
public education building, they're not gonna give you a fair market value, you're spending taxpayer dollars.
Matt, did you know they?
We can go to Home Depot.
So I can just walk through the others.
Have
Yeah, if you like to.
So we did find that there is roof damage.
Here,
on
Ryan.
the hockey. It's hail damage. We don't know how long ago it was, but we have a roofing company working on helping us with a claim on that, but knock on wood,
Hold up,
hopefully.
there's hail damage on that building, and we don't know when it was from,
It could have been a year ago, could have been 6
or
months,
the,
or could have been 4
I know
years
what you're
ago.
talking about.
so I have a question, and I'm not trying to stir the Keystone pot.
Thank you.
Wouldn't that be their responsibility to, I mean, we're moving past all that, but are we getting stuck with the bag
So
now?
what-
It's a fair.
So-
Cause I feel like if we are.
One
we
of the
should
first
probably revisit that
conversations
number.
I had was, we've always held the insurance for the building.
Yeah, right.
They only have insurance on personnel and contents inside.
But no one here is in that building every day to, I don't know, make a phone call. I mean, if we don't have any way of knowing, but
Yeah.
if we are on the hook to replace that roof, that's gonna have to go against that depreciated value of the roof, in my opinion. But it's just because we're gonna be stuck paying them a large chunk of money. And if the roof's no good, well,
I don't get why.
I think we revisit, I don't either, I should have brought it up, that's history.
Well, right now, we won't have that 77,000.
Well, that changes my whole area.
Yeah. But, well, the first thing I asked was who held the insurance on the facility itself? 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's always been us.
It's always been us, because we had to readjust it, because we were getting about half the amount of what the insurance costs for rent. But that's all water under the bridge. I did not know that we were off the hook for that.
Yeah,
So that changes, because I was gonna say, we have to replace the roof, we're gonna have to adjust that number.
yeah. So our agreement with Keystone is, as co-tenants this year, we won't charge them rent. We'll share custodial, we'll share thing, and then in the end, that dollar amount we talked about. And the other superintendents have agreed, yeah, we think that's a good deal for everybody.
Mhm.
For the record, I have no further beef with anyone with this. I just have that number stuck in my head
Yep.
because we talked about it for 5 years.
This topic for a while.
I know
And
it's
the second they're building a new one, we're gonna
You
replace the
might
roof.
know the extra dollars, so. So anyway, just update that,
Yeah, that.
we'll be working on that. Another, looking at moving towards a consolidated kitchen. LaDonna, him and I will be looking at, there are going to be. I mean, we have old freezers.
Mhm.
None of them are worth picking up, moving. We're gonna need freezer space. We'll need dry storage, so we're gonna be working on a layout that we're gonna have to have up here. We'll need some upgraded equipment. I mean, just like the preschool, anything's gonna have an upfront cost, but over the next 5, 10, 15 years, so we're gonna be working on, because there's not enough freezer space up here at the high school to cover everything. Number two, we don't have a freezer in the district worth picking up and moving,
So.
because we spend a lot of money.
Keep it from the-
Actually, our high school freezers aren't keeping temperature right now. So they're in working on it, but anyway, we'll be working on some proposals throughout this year, what we need to do in preparation to eventually move to a consolidated kitchen.
And this year, the high school is providing meals for the preschool,
Yes.
kind of as a lead in.
Yeah, so we're piloting
Mhm.
what it looks like to prep here and deliver. We took one of our vans, and we got it painted to where it looks nice from 20 yards.
So this looks like.
Going
the
down
ones
the
that's in
Play
the-
music.
Came out for track.
We have our other one, yes, we
That
have
was
our
bad.
other one getting painted right now, kind of similar. They said, what about the rust? Don't worry about
Just
the
paint
rust.
over it.
We needed to look nice from 20 yards. So our preschool delivery van, when you see it go by, it's gonna
Don't
look
let
like,
anyone fool that it's new.
yes. So anyway, and then the last one was just to discuss a possible timeline for a potential bond issue.
Okay.
Again, it's on your goals
Yeah.
as a strategy. I get asked all the time, when's that gonna come up again? And I just think it's good for the board and the community to be as transparent as possible. To say, okay,
People stop watching and listening, so.
well,
7 years ago.
but. So. I will just share with you. Some information, my first thought, and then. You know, we all know that there's a lot of engagement, communication. We facilities planning group did a really good job of providing you a list of things that just need to be addressed. We're gonna have to talk about growth. You know, the last bond issue, there was classrooms at middle school, elementary and middle school, but not enough discussion, you know. This, you have options of November or spring elections. November, just. I think it's too fast,
Yeah.
too much conversation, so. The legislature passed, again, if you were to have one in March, it's the first Tuesday after the first Monday. Doesn't matter, March 3rd. if that were a goal for the community, then here's the timeline. The board and the community have between now and December 8th to get something to the state board. Because once the state board gets it, then they have to review it, look at it. I mean, you can see all the timeline from there on down. Once it goes to the state board, this board's done. Just like the last time, then it's your community. You have more, you know, whatever. But this allows you time between now and December. If not March, then you're looking at the next November.
Midterms.
Yeah, it's just, so this, I just wanted to share with you because I think it's important for you to have timelines, to be thinking about, okay, if we want to do something in March, we have facilities, we have space, we have, do we want to start having some special meetings to invite community in to start having conversations about what the planning committee shared? Have conversations about the reality or whatever 5 to 10 years out from growth, because that affects facilities. To have at that point in time, or at some point soon, you're going to want, I mean, we can give some ballpark, you know, of what the facilities planning committee. And then at some point, you're going to want to select an architect to really get into, but at some point, you need a scope of work with a not to exceed. And it's between now and December to do that. If, again, you know, we want to have everything transparent conversation with people invited and whatnot.
What's everybody's thoughts on?
On the bond in general.
Do it now. We can. It's gotta be done
I
differently,
mean,
but we don't have freezers at work.
but the 8th, you know, trying to get it in,
Number 8.
do you think that's too soon? Starting?
It's gotta be attacked much differently.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
It's
people
gotta
stop
happen, but
logging on and watching our board
you
meetings.
don't
I
know.
think there's a difference though
I'm going right now.
with looking at it at December 8th from all that we've learned over the past year. I mean,
I think
I
if
just
people
don't want
paid
it to be-
attention and would actually show up and not vote against a different reason other than what they're doing for the school, we could do it tomorrow. But everybody wants to be informed, but they don't inform.
Yeah. Do we
You
all?
know, we had all those meetings
Yeah.
and everyone was like, well, I didn't know about it. I wasn't invited. Like
So they would.
200 other people showed up.
Yeah. Do we all agree we need to move in that direction?
Oh, 100%.
Right, we all agree that
What
that
happens in this district if we don't do something?
Right.
We're gonna spend a bunch of money on
And
freezers.
we all know that. We all know that. It's just how do
So
we
how do we
communicate that?
paint the picture?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
my beef is,
Yeah.
and I've been a little chippy with certain situations, but like the ones that are gonna move the narrative around it, there's nothing you're gonna tell. them.
Right.
I know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
but is that gonna change if we add on another period for thought? And I
I think those people need to know that their freezer's not working.
yeah.
I think they need to know that we have 65-year-old
And how
doors that
much
we're
does the
spending
replacement
$23,000 on.
How much?
I
does a
think they need to
replacement
know
freezer
that we're
cost?
getting $100,000, $150,000 grants that we have to foot the bill on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm passionate about this because I see this money that we're Band-Aids. 10 years I've been on, almost.
Yeah.
We just throw Band-Aids on everything. And we're talking about when we're gonna do the bond. I will own the attitude with this. But we've been talking about a bond for 10 years.
Yeah.
We have buildings falling apart.
I think the goal is to
Look,
not
like,
let it last.
We need
ever.
to do a better job of
Constantly.
involving the community that wants to be involved and a better list. But like the question of if, it's when.
Yeah.
I mean, what's this look like? This building was built in 94?
Feels right.
Yeah.
Six.
It's 96, newest building we got. Our district building is in a bank.
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
I know.
drive down to Perry
Oh, I
Drive by
just
that.
did
and try not to. eat this.
yesterday, and I was like, oh.
That is supposed to be Jeff West's ride.
We just.
Well, good luck.
Do you think are you saying that you don't feel that the March 3rd election?
I think we could do it next month if we had the right plan, but I don't know we can get that plan right away. Because we're not convincing those that know. We have to keep the ones that are gonna create all these ridiculous narratives to convince those that don't wanna get informed. Now, I'm not trying to say that we should not inform everyone. I just think the battle is gonna be like, how do you shut everybody up on principle?
You can't.
Yeah.
No, you can't.
You can't.
But everyone that doesn't pay attention, they know somebody and they said, well, they're doing this. Well, guess what? 100 more people run with that.
Yeah, no.
So we gotta focus on, they gotta know that the freezer's not working. I keep focusing on that because it's just funny that we're going into bond
Yeah.
and we're gonna spend money on freezers. We just paid $23,000 on doors.
And we just paid how much?
And we're gonna replace a roof.
Well,
I mean,
that's why I said we don't
at
even
what
know the
point in
code
time?
on route.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna shut up here in just a second. But at what point in time and our minimal amount of capital outlay are we gonna keep this thing going? I mean, you can go to every building. You can go everywhere. And if we grow at all, what are they gonna do? Learn in the basement again? I know we are getting by. I am not downplaying because we had no room and it worked. But like, I wanna be honest. When my youngest son comes to the elementary school, you'll never hear it from him. I'm gonna be a little pissed if he's in the basement of that building.
I hope you come
But
to the board meeting.
It went well. That's just the perk. Kids shouldn't be in the basement.
Well, and nor should our staff.
Well, no, exactly.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we have people that are, when I was in high school, they're working out of closets, essentially. I mean, at what point in time do we need to just flex with the knowledge?
We do, but here's the thing, we can't afford to lose again.
Right.
Mhm.
So
we
it's gotta
have to
be
do
well
it.
thought out.
We have to do it.
We have to do
That's
it.
my point, though. You're right.
We can't
Every
afford-
Every
So-
winning strategy is a sound strategy.
Mhm.
So I don't
we
know
gotta
how we
figure out
do,
this
I don't know how we
strategy.
do that because people are so afraid of the ones that they don't come.
I get
You
that.
think you can hand them the packet and like, well, I wasn't invited, or I don't know anything about that, or I read this like this, this paper's white. No, it's not. It's got an elephant on it. I'm sorry for that, but you get what I'm saying.
I get it. But
This should have been done 15 years ago.
Smaller.
but it wasn't.
Exactly.
And we're at the point now where we can't afford to lose. So, that being
Then
said,
quit, stop.
what is
trying.
everybody comfortable
Just
with?
hit them every time.
If we went with the mark, or what's our very next step?
That's,
The very.
So we
that
gotta,
would
we gotta
be-
start scheduling special meetings. it sounds like.
Yeah,
So-
yes.
So I think, I'm just gonna throw out ideas. We can't fix everything
We can.
because we know the scope of work is beyond what people would pass. And I think our facilities planning committee did a really good job of saying, here's your big ticket items.
Mhm.
That HVAC systems from, mechanical, electrical, all of those things.
500
Yeah.
different
You look at that list. I can get a ballpark, one of those that from professionals to say, okay, you're looking at about this amount.
Mhm.
We can do the same thing with, is it 2 classrooms new at the elementary and middle school? Is it, we can get some of that stuff and get to kind of an amount. Now, I have updated here. When you're ready, you may want it now. after a bathroom break, I can pass them out. Again, what does 10 million at 20, 25, or 30 years, 12 and a half, 15 million, 17 and a half, 20 million at 20,
I love that.
gives you that kind of information, just,
What we need.
but that's not gonna be a lot different than the last time. But valuations went up, more people are on the tax roll, whatever. But back to your question, John, I think if we had a community conversation just around, let's share with you what some of our patrons shared with us that get facilities. And you're talking a ballpark of around, it could be 8 million, just to 9 million, just to address that. If we were to look at 2 new classrooms at the elementary and middle school, what would that look? If we needed to address something at the kid and just start having, I think the biggest thing is sitting down and having a conversation where the community can visit with the board to just be talking about, are these things we really want to address? And here's the amount. What's too much? How much,
Yeah.
but a couple of our biggest issues is fixing what we have and dealing with potential growth. And then what are some things we would like to have? I mean, I go by the preschool now and look at, wow, what if all of our buildings looked that sharp? Well, what would that, I mean, that's not gonna break the bank, but that might replace something, let's dress them up, the outside, the inside. Then at some point, hey, we're getting a little attention because 2 more people have jumped on.
I made one, I accidentally hit a button.
That's,
Sorry.
A couple iPhones
It's
have popped
fine.
up. But I do think that we start working on inviting the community in to let's talk about that. Now, nothing's going to be exhausting. And at some point, we're gonna have to bring an outside group in that could help us communicate, whether it's an architect, whether it's a construction management firm. We can do that, but I think the first thing is to engage about conversations that you've had over the last several months. And that is,
Growth.
So last time we had, it wasn't a town hall, but it was the meeting that we had in the lunchroom. But that was the first meeting we had like that, where it was publicly announced that we were gonna be talking about a bond. And we also voted that night for the bond.
We put it in their hands and they were mad at us.
Right, but
We
what I'm
went
saying
with
is,
democracy.
what I'm saying is, instead of doing it that same night, let's have that meeting, let's give everybody 2 or 3 weeks to chew on it.
Yes.
Come back, and we all hear from the public during those 2 or 3 weeks, we all take those phone calls, we all talk about
you
it.
don't have to have that vote till December 8th.
Okay, so we've got time to do several of those.
Right.
You must have the
Exactly.
conversations to get feedback, to go back to
felt
the
like
drawing board.
It was all at once, and I think we could spread that out a little bit to get everybody, we're right.
So to get back to
Informed.
the initial questions. Are we good with trying March 3rd?
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
Well,
timeline.
I think
It's
we
achievable.
move on because we don't even have to say that until,
Yeah.
if it's
but
coming
yeah.
together, then we can do that.
But
But I
we're
think we
already-
need to start this process
Now.
with the assumption that
There.
we're aiming for March 3rd.
We all
But the
agree.
longer we wait, the more expensive it gets.
Right.
What was
There's
the
no doubt
bond,
about that.
96?
There's
The
no doubt.
reason I looked at the March
5.7?
3rd timeline, because I thought
5.7,
realistically, the
that's-
November timeline
40 million, no.
was going to
That'd be true,
put
Russ.
pressure on
Yeah, we don't wanna have to do. it.
having the conversations that I think are important to have.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we move forward with the assumption of March 3rd. And if
Very
it
good.
turns out that we can't get it together,
Yeah.
Then we have to extend it.
but either way, the work we're going to do now is going to be done.
Yeah.
So much.
If
Can I,
this,
I'm
if this
lowering
information
my
goes out
tone,
to us,
but I'm gonna ask,
not everybody.
Yeah, that's why,
I mean,
with the
everybody.
last bond, does
Everybody.
anybody know?
oh yeah,
Okay.
Was it 5.7 or 6?
No,
We built this
I'm
building with
still-
$6 million. And it would take spitballing from what some of the people that are helping assess the building, 40 million to build the same one to date.
So yeah, this will be in our minutes.
Okay.
Our bond was going to be pretty similar to the mill of the last bond. I mean, it's been a minute since I've got that note in front of me, but they weren't far off. We were gonna raise by the percentage very similar to what it cost in 96 for $6 million. Let's just wait. Let's wait 5 more years. And let's ask for $50 million.
So if anybody asks, this is
Yes,
gonna be in a minute for people can
I love that.
look at it.
Yeah. Anything that's shared here is public.
Okay.
So this just gives you, and it's not gonna be much different than a year ago. But if you look, so the first page is cost to homeowners. And then it goes to cost to businesses. But if you look from left to right at the top, $10 million at 30 years, 25 years, or 20 years. Last time, for reference, we were looking at 25 years. So I asked them, go on both sides, 20 and 30. And then 12.5 million, 15 million, 17.5, 20 million. And then if you look down, so annual property tax from a $75,000 home to a $250,000 home. It just gives you the annually, and you can work from left to right.
Mhm.
And then it's monthly, and then it's daily.
Mhm.
I know there's a lot on one, but I said, instead of saying, here's 20 years, here's 25 years, here's 30 years, and you have 3 copies, it's all on one.
No, this is
Perfect,
great.
this is perfect.
And then the next page is for commercial, and then the last one, unless you're some friends of mine that have a lot of ag land, you're not gonna get that, because it's just, it's ag land, whether it's pasture or, so. But anyway, so back to, we're just getting ready to start school. We just had a conversation tonight. Do we want to have our September 8th special meet or regular meeting? And then start looking at maybe September, get the year going. You'll have September, October, November, 3 months to have, or do we want to just jump in? Oh, hey, what's everybody doing next?
No.
I think we
I
need
think
to let
we
everybody
got
get started
started.
with school.
Yes.
It's crazy.
My kids are grown.
I only have one in high school now, but still, I feel like it's a little busy.
Some of us aren't even gonna have kids in this school when this bond gets passed.
Out there, yeah.
But man, it is important because not only do we need to look at what we need to fix, but we need to look at the future of this.
Yes.
That's the thing,
School
this has a
district.
20-year bond, we have to be able to look
Exactly.
20 years ahead and see what we need, I think.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I mean, the approach has to be different.
Yes.
But tippy-toeing around the fact that everyone knows we have to have it. But I mean, we just gotta put the ball in the court, let's go practice, let's go.
Okay.
I didn't mean to get all chippy with it, but like, I've been on this board for a long time, and I started being on the board because I was on a bomb facility 3 years prior. In this room. We've been talking about it forever.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have needed half that money. Had anybody had the initiative to just say, I don't care about the ones that are always gonna vote no, focus on convincing the ones that are willing to do that.
There's a
Well,
lot of people out there.
I mean, and then the ones that say no, if they don't have the masses, I mean, they didn't agree, they didn't disagree with the need.
Yeah, no, even the ones that voted no didn't disagree that it.
Right,
something
it's
needed
just
to
like,
happen.
it was financially burdening it.
You know, property taxes went up anyway,
Oh, yeah.
and they're gonna go up again. and they're gonna go up again.
I did have
I
that.
don't know if I've ever seen a bond issue pass with 75% or more.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, I don't, maybe 78, I just don't remember what did community. So there's always gonna be 20 to 25% for one reason or another, it doesn't work for them.
At one time when they built this building and all the others, those taxpayers had to pay for it. I bet they did not like the increase. Now, it's all relative to the times. It is our turn. Whoever coined that phrase, well, maybe it's not, but it's gonna be somebody's. I will be embarrassed if it's my children's turn.
Well, and I hope.
I'm just gonna say what everybody else thinks. This is what the community is saying. They're afraid to say it because they don't wanna end up on some scanner page.
We are.
Moving along.
Yep.
How many minutes?
So I'll start doing some work, just lining some things for mid-September, including the financial side of it. The board just is gonna approve 41 mills for our budget. The state average is 54. Now I'll get the new, you know, the only difference is between us and everyone else, we don't have a bond issue. So I'll try to put some of that so people know in context.
Yes, that would be amazing. How long do you want?
We need a break too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but how long do you want for the?
Yeah, I mean,
Just like a couple minutes. Just-
No, I'm talking about.
The extra.
For the
Executive
personnel and hires.
15.
15,
sensitive.
okay.
15.
I motion to enter executive section per KSA 75-4319 for a period of 15 minutes at 8:55 PM. So I give you 4 minutes, I give you a 4-minute break to discuss personnel issues of non-elected personnel under the coma exception, including Dr. Brad Newenswander and administration, with the open meeting to resume in the boardroom at 9:10 PM.
Second, oh, go for it.
All in favor? 7-0.
Don't you?
Just
please.
Okay. Okay.
Principal.
I'd like to motion to approve the resignation of Rainey Pulsifer as middle school teacher's aide, as well as the approval for the contracts of Danny Finson as middle school teacher aide, Quinn Newenswander for middle school assistant football coach, and Kayla Hofstra for preschool para.
Second, oh, sorry. Who else?
Miss Janelle.
And Janelle Harper as middle school assistant volleyball coach.
Second,
I have it on.
All in favor? 6-0.
No,
Seven.
sorry, me. Sorry, I was just like.
Superintendent report.
Okay, I'll try to run through this quickly, but first of all, shout out. A big thank you to 5-Star Masonry, Barry White, for all the work they did at the middle school this summer. Tearing out that wall and cleaning it all up. I keep hounding him to submit us an invoice and a bill. I have a good idea that that's not the way Barry wants to do it, but it was great for them to help us out in the finish. Also, RNS maintenance, they did the preschool rails for safety over at the elementary where you come out of the tornado shelter down in the basement and you come up those stairs. There was a rail, but little kids could have fallen right through. They covered that, put a gate, and they're also working on replacing the back stairs to the kitchen where the ice melt over years has crumbled those stairs, and they're going to go with metal stairs where the water just goes right through. So anyway, thanks to them. And also all the high school boys and girl athletes that from carrying Mason stone out of the middle school to moving wrestling mats to helping us move the preschool in. Just a shout out to all of our kids for putting in a lot of volunteer work. They eat a lot of pizza and donuts, but it was well worth it. So Bree, Wes and I have worked on, this is a Patterson Family Foundation grant. It's not a federal grant. So we applied for $100,000 to hope to hear this fall to help with some of those, offset some of those upstart costs to doing a preschool. This foundation is about trying to help rural communities start early childhood because they know the challenges behind that. This would help us with equipment, would help us with some personnel, would help us, we got the playground equipment, but we don't have a place for teachers or parents on weekends to sit benches. Just $100,000 go a long ways to get us to that next level to have equipment and some staffing for that. So we'll keep you updated on that. We provided you a list. We'll try to do this at the start of every year. All the staff that are employed by the district. There's one page of all the Keystone staff that work in the district. Then there's, a list of Rule 10 coaches, just so you have, wow, I didn't know that there was that many people or who's where. But we'll try to keep that updated each, especially start of the school year, so you know who's in the district. Just a legislative update. I know Matt's visited with our representative Ron Ellis. I met with him. I also spent a couple hours with our Senator Kenny Titus, who's from Wamego. Both very good listeners and just want to stay engaged with us. At some point this fall, I would like to invite them to a board meeting, just so they can spend a little time hearing your concerns or your goals, and you can hear from them. So anyway, just making those connections, but both of them so far were just very supportive, especially of the bill that we talked about. School Finance Task Force. That's the first Tuesday and Wednesday of every month, except this month. They moved it to next week. That's one of those that we will want to stay engaged with because it's very likely there could be some proposals come out of that, which I can tell you right now, my vote is probably a minority. And we knew that going into it. But we'll want to stay engaged with our legislators to make sure that they're aware that any changes to the school finance formula, we need to make sure our legislators know how we feel about that. So building that relationship with our representative senator will be good, especially when we need to visit with them about any proposals that change the school finance formula. Health Insurance Committee, they will be meeting here soon to hear proposals of what it might look like if we went to a different health insurance vendor. It really, it comes down to, we have a great plan that is costly. And at some point, the committee needs to make a recommendation, and they will survey staff and employees and all that. But at some point, I need direction to either say, hey, if that's what we want as a district, that's okay. It's just at the cost maybe of some other things, because I think I shared with you we rank about 15th out of 286 school districts on what we spend per employee from average. And if we were at average, you're looking at almost 400,000 a year. So anyway, their next step is to listen to some proposals. They'll start calling staff together and trying to educate everybody. But here in the next couple of weeks, they'll come back together and look at, well, what does it look like if we went with the Greenbush health insurance pool? If we went with Blue Cross on a standalone. So anyway, they'll be coming together here in a couple of weeks.
Is there, we don't have a date for that set?
No,
Okay.
no, we're waiting to, right now, the group we're working with is getting those proposals set for us. Just a reminder, back to school bash Thursday. Ms. Payne, any updates that you'd want to share with the group?
Yeah.
Miss Payne?
Excuse me, I was looking at you.
I know, I looked up and he wasn't
I'm
looking back.
surprised I didn't say Miss Watson.
Miss Payne and my.
I couldn't say Aaron, because I didn't really.
Because then I would-
That narrow it down. I think we're in really good shape. We're gonna have the inflatables again this year. And then food, pretty much a repeat of last year with the exception of there will be no touch a truck. I'm really sorry, John. It wasn't that
Okay.
as popular, and then I feel like it's a liability out in the parking lot, like kids run
Yeah,
around.
no, that's.
But the Kona ice truck will be there. And then we've also, I talked with Jeff Schwinn, and then we're gonna try to also recruit any high schoolers and middle schoolers that want to help. But specifically, if they want some hours for,
National Honor Society.
thank you.
Get it out of the way.
We'll count it towards district too.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
As well as we've got some clubs that are also going to help out, because I think the goal is to get more kids, more of the older
Yeah.
students there, because they're the ones who are almost make it more exciting for the littles, and they get more involved with the littles, and it just makes more of a well-rounded day. But we're going to have a big wiffle ball game going on at the end, and a kickball game, and all that fun jazz as well. So be there or be square.
Did you get a lot of clubs and organizations?
We did. Boy Scouts will be back this year, and then we did have a couple. The Education Foundation, Sarah Becker she signed her group up, and then I haven't heard anything from. Okay. Honestly, like, I think it's a great time to introduce these clubs, but the kids are running around on the football field more than anything. But I know like Booster will also be there, and then but yes, it's all coming together. And let me know, I'm expecting you all to be there, right?
And I was gonna ask, how can we help?
I'll talk to you
Like,
side by
show up?
side afterwards. I have a good idea for you.
For me?
Yes, you.
I'd rather
My job got changed.
I'd rather be the
Yeah.
takers in the concession stand.
I'm rethinking it now. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I'm
So
gonna.
I'm going and getting all the food, hamburgers, hot dogs, buns, water, all that stuff on Wednesday.
And Woolie's gonna have ice cream. Woolly Farms will be there again this year. They're pre-scooping. So hopefully
Good
I don't
idea.
run out real quick, but they're pre-scooping.
Who's
And-
willing?
Also, it was
Brad.
I got fired.
Relish and onion.
Aaron fired me.
So I bought 5 pounds.
But
This Aaron.
He's got like 3 other things for
Oh,
him.
perfect.
Oh, cool. What's that?
It was requested that we didn't buy onions in relish packets because it's
I
been
don't do
2 years to get rid of them. But I did I'm gonna get bottles of relish, squirt bottle, and then I got 5-pound bag of onions, so we need a dicer.
Call me later. I think I got one for you. Awesome. I think, what time, do you recall what time the inflatables were gonna be there to set up?
I do.
I can look really fast.
I emailed them, originally, I was told by the individual who worked on it last year and spent a lot of time on it, that they use spikes on the turf, they cannot use spikes on the stick. I don't know who told her that, but they cannot use spikes on the turf, so I did email them. So if they show up before I get there.
I will be there early because I'll be getting the grill out and then we start cooking hamburgers and hot dogs like an hour before, so we're stocked.
Yeah, and I'll be there well before that. I'll make sure I'm there for the inflatables though.
It starts at 5, so we can get there.
Starts at 5:30
5:30.
and goes till 8.
And I'll be there probably by 3, getting the grill out, so I'll be there.
With his apron.
Can we have a timeline of everything that's coming up emailed? We have that, then we have the Friday morning,
Yes.
and then the 12th.
Yeah, so Friday morning is convocation, or not convocation, whatever. Back to school kickoff. If you can make it, we're doing color code, which you should have got an email to do a little survey. And what it does, then you sit around, I'm a yellow, some people are
I
red.
took it
some
today,
are
but I
blue.
haven't gotten my email yet. Does it take a while?
No, you get it right now.
Yeah,
Do you actually?
I did it today on the one.
I didn't get an email.
Shocking.
I never ma'am.
no. But anyway, and then the 12th, next Tuesday, we'll have a special meeting. And all we're gonna do is come together over at Ozaki, call the meeting together, and then go out and we're gonna do a ribbon cutting. We're inviting people that went to school there when it opened.
Yep, that's.
And some, you know, and I had a great meeting with them on Friday. It was one of the best, funnest, because I got to hear all the stories from that generation. But it has that trophy case when you walk in and it's there. They're going to find memorabilia, take care of the trophy case, of just telling the history of that building, just so we don't lose it someday.
Yeah.
What
And,
And if they have extra duplicates, that
Um,
means that we can auction it off.
we're gonna call the meeting together at 4:30,
4:45.
4:45. And then we'll just go right outside because at 5 is
Meet the teachers.
meet the teacher parent night. So we're gonna hold them out front and you get a board and those.
Cookies and punch and chairs. I got big scissors.
Okay, I have some too.
Oh,
I
shoot.
keep them in my purse. No, I didn't have some.
You never know what my.
Anyway, but yes, and with that,
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. So, it was a productive.
Thanks, Brenda.